Fam, what's up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Different location here. Today we got 10 names you do not want to be called.
I want to be a Navy SEAL. I want to be a Navy SEAL.
Scratch that. Too windy outside. We're in the car. So the first name that you do not want to be called in the Navy, I'm just going to start it off. Pogue. Pogue. Why I'm saying Pogue is because we don't have freaking Pogues, number one. I get a lot of people, you know, that come to my channel, that come to my videos and yell, throw these words out. You know, they're probably a little salty. You know, I like making videos about our good friends, the Marines, in the Department of the Navy, and a lot of people that are, you know, civilians. I can understand how they can get a little defensive. They don't understand the banter that goes back and forth between branches. It happens all the time. You know, people call me gay. They call the Navy gay. They say we're a bunch of seamen. You know, the whole 100 people go out, 50 couples come back. And when I make videos about the Marines, you know, we're having fun. The last video I made, I was rubbing my freaking nipples and jumped into a trash can. Do you think obviously I'm not being, you know, that serious. You know, it's a joke. So yes, the Navy does not have grunts. We don't. We have sailors. In the Navy, you are a sailor first. After anything, before anything in the Navy, you're a sailor first. That's what you're trained at in boot camp. That's what you are after boot camp.
I want to cut off all of my hair. I want to cut off all of my hair.
Now the second name you don't want to be called in the Navy, Seaman Smuckatelli. Seaman Smuckatelli is the one that's always getting called out during briefings. The one that's always getting the DUIs. The one that's always getting the sapper complaints. The one that you always hear during your NKO courses, during your PowerPoints. You don't want to be him because that means you did something wrong. You're getting in trouble for something if you are a Seaman Smuckatelli.
I want to be a Navy SEAL. I want to be a Navy SEAL.
Number 3, we have Shipmate. When you hear the word Shipmate in the Navy, again, there's never really any context that I can think of to where Shipmate is going to be a good thing. I'm thinking in my head the situations where Shipmate would be good, and it's not. Usually when you're walking down somewhere, you're walking away, you have your back turned, and you get called, hey, Shipmate. It's never in a good tone. You know, there might be higher ups, there might be some salty, crusty chief or officer that just calls everyone, hey, Shipmate, what's going on? But normally, a majority of the time, if you get shipmated, just like Seaman Smuckatelli, means you're doing something wrong, or you did something wrong, and you're about to get chewed out or called out. Seaman Smuckatelli, shipmate, no bueno. Run with me if you dare.
Run with me if you dare.
The next one we have the classic Blue Falcon, aka Buddy Effer. So normally a Blue Falcon is someone that's gonna go out of their way to screw you over. You know, whether it be not handling something at the lowest chain of command. In the Navy, you try to settle all disputes, all problems at the lowest level possible. So a Blue Falcon is gonna go straight up to chief. He's gonna skip the LPO, he's gonna skip the work center supervisor, he's gonna go straight up to chief. Sometimes he might even go straight up to the division officer. And if he's a huge Blue Falcon, he's gonna go, I don't know, maybe he might go to the skipper. But Blue Falcons will go out of their way to cause problems when they know they can handle it at a lower level. Example of a Blue Falcon that I've ran into, in naval aviation, you know, tools are very, very important. There's a thing called ATAF, all tools accounted for. It is the hugest thing if you misplace a tool, if you drop something, if you lose something. So, you know, normally once you notice that you lose something or you're missing a tool, you stop all the work, you stop everything you're doing, and you go look for it right away. You have to find that tool ASAP. Now, a Blue Falcon is not even gonna give you a chance to go look for that tool. He's not even gonna give you a chance to go look for something. He's gonna go run straight to chief. He's gonna go run straight to maintenance control and say, oh, dude, he lost a tool. Tools are gone, everything, this guy messed up. No, do not do that. Give him a chance to look for the freaking tool first before you start, you know, raising all the red flags and the alarms. Don't be a BF.
When my granny was 91. When my granny was 91.
Now this next one, it's not really a bad name, Boat Donkey or Boat Donk. It's more of a personality. Now on a Navy ship, there is a little rivalry between the Airedales and the brown shoes like myself and the black shoes and the boat donks, the boat donkeys, the ones that live on the ship 24/7. Now your stereotypical boat donkey, they're probably gonna be, you know, in my case, we'd call boat donkeys the ABHs, you know, the yellow shirts, especially the ones that work in the hangar bay. You know, they just walk around all day. The hangar bay petty officers, the flight deck petty officers, they're walking around with their freaking whistles, thinking they're the boss, telling everybody what to do. Boat donks aren't gonna be the smartest. They're not gonna be the brightest people, but they're gonna think they have so much power. They're always gonna be bossing you around. They're a freaking boat donk.
She did PT just for fun. She did PT just for fun.
All right, this next one I really like. This next one I'm sure a majority of you guys out there are. You're a wog. You're a slimy, nasty, disgusting polywog. So to go from a slimy polywog to a glorified freaking shellback, you have to go through the wog ceremony. You have to go through wog day, crossing the line ceremony. And what that is basically after you cross the equator, there's gonna be a day on the ship where all the freaking slimy polywogs, you get initiated. Now when I did it, when I became a shellback on my first ship on the Lincoln, it was classic. I got woken up, honey poured on me, water poured on me, baby powder poured on me in my rack. There was water this deep throughout the whole berthing that I was getting pushed through. I was used as a mop, you know, getting pushed through all this dirty brown water, and it's pretty much just this big hazing ceremony that goes on for hours and hours and hours and hours. And once you get through it, if you don't tap out, once you get through that, you're initiated. King Neptune, become a freaking shellback. So the only bad thing is nowadays, so I crossed the equator 2 times. The first time as a wog, the second time as a shellback. The second time I did it, it sucked. It was so PC. When I was on the Lincoln, it was awesome. When I was on the George Washington, we had to sign waivers. People had to sign page 13s. We couldn't like touch people. We couldn't pour stuff on people. It was the most boring thing. So hopefully on your guys' ship, you get to experience a true crossing the line ceremony and go from a slimy, nasty wog to a shellback.
When my granny was 92, when my granny was 92, she did PT better than you. She did PT better than you.
So this next one, similar to being a Blue Falcon, you know, a buddy effer, you have the Shipback. Now what makes the Shipback a little different is that they're not intentionally going out of their way, you know, to screw people over. They're just unsat. They're unsat 24/7, whether it be their uniform, their hair, they don't shave, their boots, they're always late. You know, a shipbag, once a shipbag, not always a shipbag. You know, I've seen many people that started off just not caring, you know, not having any passion being in the military and the Navy, and then they turned it around. You know, whether it be because they got chewed out, they went to captain's mast, they got sat down by someone that they, you know, respect, and it changed them. But like I said, it's very tightly correlated. Being a Blue Falcon, most of the time you're also gonna be a shipback. So, no bueno.
When my granny was 93, when my granny was 93, she did PT better than me. She did PT better than me.
All right, actually this one's probably my favorite. This next one, booter. Being a booter. If my dog, Papa, has more time in the bathtub than you do out at sea or on deployment, you're a freaking booter. Now what booters like to do, they like to graduate boot camp, get out of A school, and when they go home on their first leave period, you know, they go home and see their family for the first time. They like to wear their uniform out in public. They like to go back to their high school, you know, back to their high school football games and walk around and show everyone their uniform, being a freaking boot. No, you'll know when people have been in the military for a long time, you know, a couple years, you don't want to wear your uniform. You want to get it off as fast as you can. A perfect example of a booter is someone we just saw a couple weeks ago that wanted to wear their uniform at high school graduation. Uniform of the day is your graduation uniform. Don't go out of your way to say, me, 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 look at me. I got my uniform on, look at me, I'm walking in graduation. No, number one, that's not uniform of the day. Number two, you're being a boot. Shut up. Do your service freaking honorably. Don't glorify something you didn't do. And don't be a boot.
When my granny was 95, when my granny was 95, she did PT to stay alive. She did PT to stay alive.
Coming up at the end, I believe this is number 9, we have the brown noser. the brown noser. A lot of civilians, a lot of you guys out there probably know brown nosers. You know, not in the military. People that go out of their way to suck up to people in power, to people in an authoritative position. They go out of their way to be on their knees. Brown nosers wear knee pads 24/7. They have knee pads on. They're ready to slide. They're ready to suck up to anybody and anything in power. I just posted a picture on Instagram of when I was Sailor of the Week. I got Sailor of the Week on the USS Lincoln on my first deployment out of 5,000 people. There was one Sailor of the Week each week for the 8-month, 9-month deployment. So there was like 32 sailors total out of 5,000. I was one of those 32. How? How did I get Sailor of the Week? Not being a brown noser. There were people that were brown nosers and didn't get anywhere. You know, if you have a good LPO or a good supervisor, they don't like brown nosers because you're wasting time sucking up when you should be working, or you should be doing that inspection, or you should be studying. I kept my head down. I freaking studied anytime I could. I would study for my quals. I got fully qualified in like 3 months out of those 9 months out at sea. The first 3, plane captain, landing signalman enlisted. I got my aviation warfare pin. I got the #1 eval in my shop, the #1 EP. And how did I do that? By busting my ass. My work center, my command recognized my hard work. They recognized my grind, and I got a bunch of awards. I wasn't doing brown nosing business.
When my granny was 97, when my granny was 97, she up at night and went to heaven. She up at night and went to heaven.
Number 10, I'm gonna poke a little fun at myself. You know, we talked about boat donkeys. You know, the boat donks, the brown shoes, the yellow shirts, the hangar bay POs, thinking they have all that power. Well, then you have the deck apes. The deck apes are the flight deck workers. You know, you kind of get a little, not cocky, but because I was a landing signalman enlisted for my squadron, I got to wear a green jersey, and I got to wear a red cranial, and I had a communication device where I always had contact with primary in the tower on the ship. Because before any aircraft can come in or out, I need to be in contact with primary, make sure the beacons are green, make sure the deck's secure, make sure I have permission. They would always call Saberhawk, spot 4, chocks and chains, LSE on spot 4. And you're always in contact with primary, 24/7 as a LSE. As an E4, 19 years old, I was in control of the whole evolution. I was running everything up there in front of the helicopter. And it was really fun. Just like the boat donks in the hangar bay, they get all that power. You know, I didn't let the power really get to my head as a deck ape, but you know, I had a little swagger when I was walking around in the galley. I had a jersey and a uniform that stood out from everyone else around me. So it was fun. I love being a deck ape. Brown shoe for life, baby. All right, fam, this is gonna be wrapping up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. 10 names you do not want to be called to the Navy. Make sure if you got to the end, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and you subscribe for more daily content. Before we wrap up this video though, I want to give a huge freaking shout out to my newest Patreon pledges. Everyone that supports me on Patreon, I really appreciate you, all the daily support, all the monthly pledges. So Riva, Brandon, David, Riva, Christian, Zero, Adam. Sorry if I missed anybody. I will give you another shout out on the next video. I appreciate you guys so much. We just hit 47,000 subscribers. We're getting close to the 50K mark. I love all the poppies out there. I appreciate all the fam. Brand new videos every day from my car. I felt like really claustrophobic, like freaking cramped in here the whole time. That I didn't know how loud to talk. I didn't know how to be me, but it's all right. I'm here at school though. I wanted to do this video real quick because if I didn't do this video now, I would have had to wait till I get home later at like 9 o'clock tonight. Then the video wouldn't have been up until probably around midnight. So I got to record this and I'm gonna try to do a quick edit. Then I got class for 3 more hours. I love summer school. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Boy! Me sore man, I don't care who you are. Me sore man, I love you. Ooh, ooh. Me sore man, you're a star. Let's me sore me's too. Ooh, me sore man.